यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यमुना तीरावनतारे यमुना तीरावनतारे यमुना तीरावनतारे जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी धन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधे जय जगन्नाथ बलदेवा सुभद्रमा जय सुदर्शना जय निताय गौर निताय गौर निताय जय गौर निताय जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय प्रभुपाद ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतस्य सेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. So, we welcome you to today's Bhagavatam class, and we are reading from Canto 1, Chapter 10, titled Departure of Lord Krishna for Dwarka, verse number 8. Amantriya chabhyanugyataha parishvajyabhivadyatam aruroharatam kaishte parishvakto vivadita आमन्त्रा चाभ्यनुज्ञाता परश्वज्याभिवाद्यतम् आरूरोहरतं कैश्च परिष्वक्तो विवादितः आमन्त्र्या चाभ्यनुज्ञातः परिष्वज्याभिवाद्यतम् आरुरोहरतं कैश्च परश्वक्तो विवादितः आरुरोहरतं कैश्च परश्वक्तो विवादितः आमन्त्र्यादादमज्ञातः माता जी पूछो ज्ञातः परिष्वक्तो विवादिता आमन्त्र्य taking permission च and abhyanugyatah being permitted pashvajya embracing abhivadya bowing down at the feet tam unto Maharaj Yudhishthira aruroha ascended ratham the chariot kaishchit by someone parishvaktah being embraced abhivaditah being offered obeisances. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupāda. Śrīla Prabhupāda ki. Afterwards, that when the Lord asked permission to depart and the king gave it, the Lord offered his respects to Maharaj Yudhishthir by bowing down at his feet, and the king embraced him. After this, the Lord, being embraced by others and receiving others' obeisances, got into his chariot. Purport: Maharaj Yudhishthir was the elder cousin of Lord Krishna, and therefore, while departing from him, the Lord bowed down at the king's feet. The king embraced him as a younger brother, although the king knew perfectly well that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. The Lord takes pleasure when some of his devotees accept him as less important in terms of love. No one is greater than or equal to the Lord, but he takes pleasure in being treated as younger than his devotees. These are all transcendental pastimes of the Lord. The impersonalists cannot enter into the supernatural roles played by the devotee of the Lord. Thereafter, Bhima and Arjuna embraced the Lord because they were of the same age, but Nakula and Sahadev bowed down before the Lord because they were younger than he. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् अन्देहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी देशतारिणी वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So I once again welcome all of you for today's Bhagavatam discussion. And before I can start, I would like to seek all your blessings and prayers, especially our Avadut Nimai Prabhu and all the seniors and all the Vaishnavas present here, so that the right words come at the right time, in the right spirit of service to all of you, glorification of Krishna and purification of my own heart. And with that, today we see in the purport, it's very beautiful. I think most of you are relishing the purport as I was reading. Correct, na? So Prabhupada, even though it's such a small purport, but he has put such profound philosophy within the few lines of this purport. And this is specialty of Prabhupada's purports. And here we see that before Krishna is departing for Dwarka, he's exhibiting exchanges of love with his devotees. And this is what is described as highest form of religion or topmost religion. Dharma projita kaitavatra paramo nirmatsaraणाम satam vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam tapatrayonmulanam. So in the beginning of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, so it is described that Bhagavatam is a literature which is meant for describing the purest form of religion, where all other suboptimal, substandard, which are not up to the mark, those all form of religiosities are kicked away. And hence, many philosophers and transcendentalists who are not in line with the pure principle of Bhagavatam fail to understand what is being talked about in Bhagavatam, fail to understand the tattva of Krishna. Because if anyone just ends up on this purport in the beginning, what they will think? Krishna is being obeisance to Yudhishthir. That means is he God or not? Correct? So Krishna is very confusing. He's a very wonderful personality, but he's a very confusing personality. Why? Because Krishna reveals in the Bhagavad Gita that ye yathamam prapadyante tam tadeva bhajamyaham. That how you approach me, according to that I reciprocate. And because Krishna is reciprocal, he is very confusing. Because if a person who is a nirvisheshavadi, that means who says that Krishna has no form or variegatedness, if he approaches Bhagavatam and he sees this, he says, yes, it is perfect. Why? Because it's in line with my understanding of Tattva. What is that? We are all Brahman, and just see, Krishna is proving it. Krishna is actually impersonal Brahman, taking on a material form, displaying material pastimes. In that, he is offering obeisances to Yudhishthir, who is also Brahman. Correct? So, this perfectly goes well with my philosophy of Nirvisheshavadi. So, Krishna tends to confuse the people according to what they really want. But for a pure devotee of Krishna who is seeking Krishna's lotus feet and nothing but that, Anya Bhilashita Shunyam, for him, Krishna describes or displays and reveals the highest, purest form of bhakti or form of religion, that is bhakti. So we see that in the world religions, God is considered to be a superpower, is considered indomitable. But that is not always the highest, because they describe God as being sitting on a throne, and only he is responsible for the creation, maintenance, and destruction, and he is the provider for everyone, and he is also the punisher for the wrongdoers. So, the world religions often create such a picture of God that does not invoke the highest form of love in the heart of the living entities. What is invoked rather is fear or desire, because fear means he's a punisher. If I'm not going to do something right, then I'll be punished, I will condemned to hell for eternity. So better I follow. Or it may invoke in us the mode of desire while approaching Krishna, because he's all powerful. He is providing for everyone, every living entity. Then I have so many big list of desires, I can approach Krishna. Correct? And at the max, it may induce the mode of duty. So duty. So Krishna, I mean, God is doing so much for us. At least it becomes my duty to visit the temple once a day, once a week. Correct? So that is at max. So the world religions which talk about greatness of God can at max come to the platform of duty. But here Bhagavatam describes that this is all sub-religious principles, because the highest form of religion is the religion of love. So that's why many people, say that, oh, you're a Hindu, you're distributing Bhagavad Gita, but I'm a Christian, I read Bible. Then what do we say? then we say no, we are not Hindu per se, because this world has so many religions. There's, people call it Hindu, and there are other religions like Islam or Christianity and so many others. And what we follow is the religion of love, right? So the religion of love, like Bhakti Tirth Maharaj, there's a famous video where he's addressing many people and top people, politicians of Africa. Many of you will have heard it. So in that he says there's so many, of course I'm paraphrasing. So he says that there's so many religious paths, but ultimately all these schools of religion is meant to take us to the university of loving God. So that's the eternal religion. That is Sanatan Dharma. Means we are to graduate ourselves from all these, the religions of this world to the eternal religion of love. Okay, so that's the point of religion. And we see in the religion of love, how is it? Krishna is not only described as great. Now, this is not to say that we discard the idea of Krishna's greatness. Rather, it becomes a prerequisite to entering the university of love. Because if you don't understand Krishna's greatness, you take love very cheaply. And rather, you compare the love with Krishna to the ordinary love of this world. Correct? So we see that Shukadev Goswami, before describing the details of 10th canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, he brings about 9 cantos of Bhagavatam where greatness of Krishna is very in great detail stressed again and again. Of course, there's some sweetness here and there, but mostly it is greatness. Why? Unless you have greatness, you cannot understand the actual sweetness. You take sweetness very cheaply. And we have so many examples of Sahajiya, etc. So when we understand greatness of Krishna, then we understand, oh, I have to take his shelter. And that's why it's important. When you directly go to sweetness, you don't tend to take shelter of Krishna. You only use Krishna for your emotional satisfaction. Understood? So when we understand greatness of Krishna, then what happens is we understand that he is the person who can save me. He is the person who is there with me beyond life and death. He is the person who can actually give me all protection when no other numbers work, when even 24/7 ambulance doesn't come. And in COVID time, there was all the 24/7 ambulance, everything was busy. The only number that worked is Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So that's the only number that works. And then when we understand that this is Krishna's omniscience and omnipotence, then we want to take shelter of Krishna. Correct? And when we take shelter of Krishna, how do we take shelter of Krishna? Bhakti. Bhakti means Navavidha. Navavidha starts with Shravanam. So Shutva Gunan Bhuvanasundara Shrunavatam Te. So Rukmini, Mother Rukmini, she describes that she never met Krishna. But even then, she fell in love with Krishna, that shamelessly, she describes herself as shamelessly writing a love letter to Krishna. And why is that? How did she develop so much love for Krishna? Just by hearing about it. So when we tend to take shelter of Krishna because he is the end all and be all, then we start hearing about Krishna. And then we go on hearing about Krishna's unending qualities to the degree that we fall in love with Krishna, not because of his position as God or protector or provider, in terms of the ordinary religions of this world. No, but we fall in love with Krishna because he's Krishna endowed with so many transcendental qualities like Bhakta Vatsalita, Bhakta Vashyata, Prema Vashyata, Prem Pujari, so many qualities. And when we understand the heart of Krishna, which is so soft, then we just simply fall in love with Krishna. And that is when we have graduated from greatness to sweetness. So it's not you bypass greatness, but you transcend greatness into understanding the sweetness of Krishna. So that's what we see here, that Krishna is offering obeisance to Yudhishthir Maharaj, who is a jiva, he is a living entity. Nitya Siddha, yes, but still he is still a part and parcel of Krishna. But Krishna, the supreme whole, is offering his obeisances to a part and parcel of himself. Right? So this shows us that Krishna subordinates himself to the love of his devotee. Correct? So there's a verse by Ras Khan, and I'm not a great speaker of Brajbash, so you have to excuse. I'll just recite this, and all of you will have heard it many times. So if we see the greatness of Krishna, the various demigods are extolling the greatness, correct? And Ras Khan says that Shesha, Ganesha, Mahesha, Dinesha, Suresha, Sahujahi, Nirantar Gave. That means all these demigods are constantly reverberating the glorification of Krishna for Anadi to Anantakal. Correct? And then what about the Vedas? The Vedas are saying Rahi, Anadi, Ananta, Akhanda, Acheda, Abheda, Suveda Batave. All these Vedas are saying that Krishna is Anant, he's Anadi, he's Akhanda, he's always there, Acheda, he has no flaw, Niranjan. Abheda, he is actually there's only Krishna and nothing else. Correct? Suveda Batave. So everyone is extolling his glories. And what about the devotees? Especially the devotees. Narada says Sukha Vyasa Rathe, Pachi Hare tu Puni Parana Pave. But even then, they're not able to come to this level of perfection of love of God as the gopis. Why? Because tahi ahir ki chohariya chachiya bhare chach pe nach nachave. That the in the gopis of Vrindavan being completely overwhelmed by motherly affection for Krishna, he is able to make Krishna dance just for a glass full of buttermilk. Correct? So where is the university of love? The last line describes the university of love where Krishna subordinates himself to that love of his devotee. Otherwise, Krishna in that position of godhood is being constantly glorified by people and Vedas and all the religions. But he's not very much impressed by that. Definitely, it's not that he doesn't reciprocate. He does reciprocate, but he's not very impressed. For Krishna, the chastisement of the gopis, especially Mother Yashoda, is much more than the Vedic hymns which are sung in the proper meter. Correct? So, we can understand what is the nature of Krishna's heart. What is actually pleasing to Krishna. That's why he's called Prema Pujari. ऐसे प्रेम पुजारी राधे श्याम श्याम श्याम. There's a beautiful verse. I think it comes in Padyavali, but I don't know exact source. Mostly it's the Padyavali verse only. व्यादस्याचरणं ध्रुवस्य च वयो विद्या गजेन्द्रस्य का कुब्जाय किमुनामरूपमधिकम् किं तत्सुदाम्नो धनं वंशः को विदुरस्य यादवपते उग्रस्य किं पौरुषं भक्त्या तुष्यति केवलं न च गुणैः Bhakti Priyo Madhava. So, what conquers the heart of Krishna is only bhakti, correct? So, bhaktya tushyati kevalam. Only love of the devotee can satisfy the heart of Krishna and nothing else. That's a gunayir. Because if you see Dhruva, in his immaturity of age, what he could do for Krishna, to please Krishna? Nothing much. And what about Gajendra, who is in a body of a dumb elephant? And what about Sudama, who is so poverty stricken? What about Ugrasen, who was actually defeated by Kamsa, imprisoned by Kamsa? So he had no Paurusha, he had no so much strength. And what about Kubja, who was bent in so many places because of her hunchback? So all these disqualifications are not at all a consideration in the eyes of God because Krishna is looking for Prem. He's a Prema Pujari. He's looking for that particle of Srimati Radharani's love. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunai. So that Krishna Prema that we all have been invested with in our own heart is actually a particle of the love, the oceanic love of Srimati Radharani. And we all know that Krishna is described as Atma Rama. Correct? That means he rejoices within himself. So he rejoices within himself means what? So when we see the Tattva described by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so Krishna, that Haladini potency is what gives pleasure to Krishna. And that Haladini potency is none other than Srimati Radharani. So how can Krishna be conquered by our love? That is only because the love that we have is a particle of Srimati Radharani's love. And now it is up to us to see, because Krishna has given the free will, where are we going to repose that particle of Srimati Radharani's love? In the things of this world, away from Krishna, or at the lotus feet of Krishna? Correct? So that is what we have been left with. That choice is with us. So when we decide to repose it in Krishna, that love, that what we have, when we decide to repose it in Krishna, when we give it to Krishna, then what happens? Then Krishna becomes subordinate. So it's not that Krishna becomes subordinate to the jiva. Actually, Krishna is subordinate to the love of Srimati Radharani, and we all have, by the grace of Srimati Radharani, that particle of love, and we don't know it. That's why it said Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunai Shravanadi Shuddha Chitta Kore Udai. When you do Shravan, then you know where actually to deposit. That Krishna is actually the only person who is meant to enjoy this love. Sharanam Sharanyam. He's the only person who's meant to enjoy my surrender. Right? So we'll just take the verse 9463. So this verse tells us the heart of Krishna. So all of you know the Amrish Maharaj pastime. Durvas Muni offended him and Krishna was very angry. So he sent a Sudarshan Chakra to chase him. And then for one whole year he was running all over Brahmanda. And then he came to the gate of Vaikuntha. And there he met the Supreme Lord and requested the Lord that Shiva, Brahma, nobody could help. Can you please ask your Sudarshan Chakra to, hold himself, control himself? And then the Lord says, so all of us can repeat. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Aham Bhakta Paradino Yasvatantra Ivadvija Sadhu Virgrasta Hridayo Bhaktair Bhakta Janapriyaha. So Supreme Lord is saying, I am completely under the control of my devotees. Indeed, I am not at all independent. The Supreme Independent is saying he is not at all independent. Janmadyasya tonvayad itaratascha tesho bhigya swarat. So Swarat is saying he is not Swarat. So what to believe? That's why Krishna is very confusing. I am completely under the control of my devotees. Indeed, I am not at all independent. Because my devotees are completely devoid of material desires. I sit only within the course of their hearts. What to speak of my devotee when those who are my devotees of my devotees are very dear to me? In the purport, yeah, the last one. Yeah, so Prabhupada explains how following the instructions of a devotee is more valuable than following the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly. Because that's the power of attorney that Krishna gives to his devotees. Fine. So once what happened, Narad Muni had wandered over Brahmanda and paid a visit to the Supreme Lord in Vaikuntha. And there the Supreme Lord asked, "Oh Narad Muni, you are looking very blissful, chanting my holy names and going all over the Brahmanda. Do you have any updates for me from the material world?" And Narad Muni said, "I know, my dear Lord, please ask anything specific that you want to know." Then Lord said, "Okay, fine. Within the creation of mine, my Shrishti, what did you find to be the greatest? Because the material world is made up of this fire, air, ether, and water, and sky. So out of this, what did you find to be the most greatest aspect in my creation?" And Narad Muni said, he was kind of taken aback because he didn't expect such kind of a question. So he said, "My dear Lord, I went to Earth, Bhumi. So Earth is known as Earth because, as Prabhuji told yesterday, because it has a Earth component in the maximum amount." So he said, maybe Earth, that is what is the greatest in your creation. He said, Earth, but actually most of the world is water. Because oceans make up so much percentage of the land surface or surface of the globe. So then he said, "Yeah, yes, my dear Lord, water is greatest." He said, "Water, how can it be greatest? Even when Agastya Muni could drink all the water of the entire world." So Agastya Muni, yes, Agastya Muni is greatest. And then he said, "How Agastya Muni can be greatest?" Because he is one of the stars, all the sages and their representative of stars and nakshatras, etc. So he said he's only one of the taras. So then he said, "Yes, my dear Lord, so he's not the greatest." Then what is the greatest? Then he said that as Vaman Dev, I took my foot and covered all the three lokas and covered all the five elements of material creation, including sky, which has the stars, etc. So then he said, "Yes, my dear Lord, hence your lotus feet is the greatest." And then he said, "If my lotus foot is the greatest, then what about me?" "Yes, my dear Lord, the lotus foot is yours, so you are the greatest." And he says, the Supreme Lord says that I always reside in the heart of my devotees. Then what do you have to say for this? Yes, now Nadmuni understood what is the point Krishna is coming to. If I stay within the heart of my devotees, then what is who is the greatest? Nadmuni says, your devotees are the greatest. So Krishna is saying that he's proclaiming to the entire world very confidently, very jubilantly, with great enthusiasm that I am a servant of my devotees. And that is the nature of the Supreme Lord. And we see exactly that in the case of Pandavas. यूयं न लोके बत भूरि भागा लोकं पुनाना मुनयोभियन्ति येषां गृहाणावसतीति साक्षात् गूढं परब्रह्म मनुष्यलिङ्गम्. So here it said Nadmuni and Yudhishthir Maharaj are having a conversation. There, this chapter is called Prahlad, the best among the exalted devotees. So after extolling the glories of Prahlad, the Yudhishthir Maharaj was feeling, yes, Prahlad Maharaj is Krishna Graha Grihitatma. He was always haunted by one Graha, that is Krishna Graha. He was always chanting the name of Krishna, and Lord took a personal avatar to protect Prahlad. And then he felt, what about me? I'm not a great devotee at all. So when Narad Muni sensed this in the heart of Yudhishthir, he says, my dear Yudhishthir Maharaj, all of you, the Pandavas, are extremely fortunate, for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, lives in your palace just like a human being. Great saintly persons know this very well, and therefore they constantly visit your house. Correct? So just to give encouragement, of course, he was not flattering Yudhishthir. He told the fact only. So Narad Muni is saying that Yudhishthir Maharaj and the Pandavas are so fortunate that usually to find Krishna one goes to forest, Vanaprasth. Here to find Krishna one has to become Grihaprasth, coming to a house of a Grihastha to find Krishna. Okay. Sava ayam brahma mahadvimrigya kaivalya nirvana sukhanubhuti priya suhridva kalumatulaya Atmarhaniyo vidikrit guruscha. And what was Krishna doing in the house? See, the impersonal Brahman is Krishna himself, because Krishna is a source of impersonal Brahman. Brahmano hi pratishtaham. He is the origin of the transcendental bliss sought by great saintly persons, yet he, the Supreme Person, is your most dear friend and constant well-wisher, and is intimately related to you as a son of your maternal uncle, Matulaya. Indeed, he is always like your body and soul. He is worshipable, yet he acts as your servant and sometimes as your spiritual master. So Krishna was so much conquered by the love of the Pandavas that he could not give up their association. That he went and stayed personally with the Pandavas. And you see on the battlefield also, Arjuna is commanding Krishna because Krishna was his charioteer. Arjuna is saying, Senayor Ubhayor Madhye Ratam Sthapame Achyuta Yavadeta Niriksheham Yodhu Kama Navastitan. Let me see who have assembled on the other side to fight us, O Achyuta. And why? And Prabhupada very beautifully gives purport to that word Achyuta, infallible in that purport. And he says two reasons. Anyone knows? I mean, I have limited classrooms. Okay. Shukra, if you want to add. Okay. Then one more. I'll complete that. One more. Okay, it's 1.21. Please don't worry. Bhagavad Gita. Often we like to read other books than books. One. So Achyuta Krishna Prabhupada describes so beautifully one of my most favorite purports. If you ask me to speak on it or discuss it, every time this purport is so relishable for anyone, any devotee. So Krishna, Prabhupada explains that Achyuta is used here because Achyuta means infallible. So one who does not fall from his position. So even though Krishna is taking the position of a charioteer, is he no longer Krishna? I mean, the Supreme Lord? No, he's still the Supreme Lord. So that is one meaning. So even though he takes a menial position to serve his devotees, he's still the Supreme Person of Godhead, Krishna. One. The other one is, the most important one is that Krishna never fails to exchange love with his devotees at the cost of his own position. So he loves his devotees so much, and that love is so infallible that he doesn't mind becoming a charioteer in order to exhibit and exchange that love. Let the whole world think that oh, Krishna is a charioteer, maybe he's not God. He doesn't care. Let so many people think that Krishna is an ordinary human being. He doesn't care. But what he cares most is how I'm serving my devotees. That is the purport of Achyuta, right? And even if you see who was the first person on the battlefield of Kurukshetra who blew the conch shell? Bhishma. And following that, Kauravas. And on the Pandavas, who blew the conch shell first? Krishna. Is actually unexpected completely if you see the entire context, because Krishna said, I will not take part in the war at all. Which means why should he? Bhima should have. Otherwise, who was the chief, this one person of the army of Pandavas? Drishtadyumna. He should have blown the conch shell. But why Krishna? Panchajanyam Rishikesho Devadatta Dhananjaya. Panchajanyam, first Krishna blew. Why? Because he wanted to send a thorough message to the Kauravas and to the entire world that I am here. Don't think I'm an impotent, liability on this side, but just being here as a charioteer, I am there saving the backs of my devotees. So Krishna blew that conch shell, and it said that the hearts of the Kauravas shattered, especially that of Duryodhana. Why? Because this was a profound message behind the blowing of Panchajanya by Krishna. So Krishna never fails in his love for his devotees, and that's why that Panchajanya was so powerful; it shattered the hearts of Kauravas. And we also see in Pandharpur, our Lord Vitthal is there, and he's waiting and waiting for whom? His devotees. That the devotee was engaged in serving, the pure devotees of Vitthal, his parents, and Krishna was so impressed by that, he did not mind waiting for Pundarik. Correct? So, in this way, Krishna shows us that he is so enthusiastic to become a servant of his devotees. And you know that as a charioteer he had to receive the kicks or the knee touch, or basically touching from the lower part of the body below waist, which is not considered very clean or very respectable thing to do. But Krishna was there to do that. Krishna was there taking care of the horses. He would wash the horses, he would feed the horses. Such a menial position. Krishna is accepting this just because out of his love for his devotees. Okay, so what we understand is that Krishna looks for opportunities to serve. We look for opportunities not to serve. Krishna looks for opportunities to serve. And in Samudra Manthan Leela, in 8th canto, the Devatas went and told Krishna that we have lost everything, please help. And how so many ways Krishna was helping. So, when the Mandara mountain was sinking, of course, Krishna gave the entire idea first of all. Then he gave the jnana that, don't fall for all the other temptations. Be focused on Amrit. Correct? And then when the Mandara mountain was sinking, he came as Kurma. When it was going up, he came as another avatar. Then when to give the Amrit, he came as Dhanvantri. And to retrieve back the Amrit, he came as Mohini Murti. And I think one or two more incarnations are there. So many ways Krishna, manifested himself just to serve the demigods. And demigods, of course, few of them are pure devotees, but most of them mixed devotees. And they asked not for Krishna, but they asked for, their kingdom, heavenly kingdom. And even though, because they are obedient to Krishna, Krishna is eager to serve. And what to speak of pure devotees who have no other desire than to serve and love Krishna. Correct? So, another instance where Krishna and Satyabhama, they went to kill their own son. Who is that? Who had become demoniac? Bhomasura. Correct? So Bhomasura had become demoniac in association of Banasura. Correct? So Bhomasura had actually stolen some things from the heavenly planets, including the earrings of Aditi, mother of Indra. So Krishna went there personally with Satyabhama on Garuda, killed Bhomasura, took back three things. One of them is earrings, the other two are blind. Two more things were there. Everything had to be, it belonged to the demigods. Umbrella of Varun Dev, correct. And one more. So he got all these things, including earrings of Mother Aditi. And then Krishna could have given a phone call to our Indra, please pick up your thing. I've already, killed Bhaumasura, it's there. No, what did he do? He went with Satyabhama all the way to Indra Loka just to personally hand deliver the earrings of Mother Aditi to Indra. Why Krishna has to do? Why he has to do home delivery of the earrings? That's not part of the deal, anyways, correct? But he did that. And then after he was leaving the Indra Loka, Satyabhama saw which tree? Parijata tree. And then she said, I want to have this. Krishna said, okay, let's take it. Then Indra had a problem. Just see that Krishna went and killed Bhaumasura. Krishna retrieved the earrings of Mother Aditi, home delivered it to, just like Blinkit, Rapido. How much respect do you give them? I mean, not Rapido. What is the other one? Zepto. Correct, no? Just we hardly share a smile. Correct? Because anyway, we've done payment earlier. There's no exchange of payment also. Thank you. That's all. You just turn your face away and come. So Krishna is doing that kind of a menial service to Indra. And then after that, when he wanted just his own Parijata tree, everything belongs to Krishna. His own Parijata tree, when he's taking, Indra has a problem and he fought with Krishna and then he understood, oh, this is Krishna, Krishna, please take. Just see, and this is our mentality. Not that Indra has to be condemned, because the more we tend to condemn characters of Bhagavatam, the more you cannot understand Bhagavatam. But the whole point is that Krishna is teaching us a lesson that we are like this, taking so many things from Krishna, yet when Krishna wants something, we are ready to give something to Krishna, like morning 2 hours we can give for Krishna. That also we know. So morning few minutes we give for Krishna, then evening some time we give for Krishna. And if Krishna says, can you give me 1 hour? He says no. Radha Maharaj describes that we tend to protect some things from Krishna. That Krishna doesn't put his hand on. We have Krishna, we'll tell Krishna that this belongs to you and this belongs to me. Don't encroach. What is that? Isha Vasamida Sarvam. Yeah. Tena taktena bunjita. Krishna, tena taktena bunjita. What is your quota, you enjoy. Don't come into my quota. Like that, we put, philosophy on Krishna himself. So, this is our mentality. Krishna is eager to serve, but we are eager to escape service. But Krishna, through his own example, by bowing down to Yudhishthira Maharaj, is teaching us that we should become eager to serve his devotees. Like, was that? I think Narottam Das Thakur says, na, Charya Vaishnava Seva Nistara Paichakeva. That without service to his devotees of Krishna, you cannot get any mercy of Krishna. You cannot develop love for Krishna. Right? Rupa Raghunata Pade Rahu Mora Asha Prarthana Karoye Sada Narottam Dasa Rupa Raghunata Pade Hoibe Akuti Kabe Ham Bhujabo Se Yugala Piriti. We cannot approach Krishna without becoming servant of Krishna's devotees. So that's what Krishna is personally teaching in his his own dealings with his devotees. Not only is relishing becoming subordinate to the love of his devotees, it's also teaching us that etiquettes are very important. We cannot transcend, we cannot transcend etiquette. Because etiquette is, often we think that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that etiquette means ornament of a Vaishnava, Sadachar. But we think that, okay, now I'm chanting 16 rounds, I'm hearing, my sadhana card is 100%. So I can forego etiquette, but no, without etiquette, you cannot actually please Krishna, because you may think that you're in bhava, prema, or even what is things above that, condensed prema. But actually, etiquette is there to give shape and form to our actual love for Krishna. Like many devotees ask, why so much book count is necessary? Correct, no? Why so much count? Count means, number means fruit, fruitive mentality. Just distribute. But the problem with that mentality is, or with that idea is, that when Maya cheats us, you'll never get to know. You'll be continuing that I have love for Krishna, but actually it's a garb of ignorance. Correct? So then what happens? You put a table and stand. Yeah, I'm here. I'm doing, on the road. I put a book, give books of Prabhupada, and I played Prabhupada Kirtan. Done. I'm serving Śrīla Prabhupada. No, not sufficient. To go approach. Yesterday we had gone, Ajay, he was, going every person and he was screaming. All the cars had closed windows. I was thinking to whom he's screaming. Only Krishna could hear. Bhagavad Gita, because no one was there and all the cars have closed windows. But anyway, so many people were inspired by his enthusiasm and they dropped by to take a book. But the whole point is when we're enthusiastic, we have to give a form to that enthusiasm. That's why Prabhupada said bhakti is devotion or devotional service. Why service is required? Because bhava or whatever feeling you have has to be given a form. Otherwise, you're simply being cheated by Maya. That's why 16 rounds. That's why book count. We are announcing also in the morning. So like that. So the whole point of etiquette is that our respect, our love, our advancement in spiritual life, everything is given a form, a garb of etiquette. If you're not following etiquette, then you can understand you're a Kanishta. It's understood. You may be chanting 64 rounds daily, but if you think you can transcend etiquette, you're no better than a Kanishta. A Kanishta thinks me, Krishna, me, Guru, that's all. But actually, day to day life, how much inspiration we derive from each another, every Vaishnava, we don't even have time to meditate on that. Like recently, I think Tupaka Prabhu had posted on Kshitij Prabhu, correct? No? So many glories. So it's so nice to see, okay, now Kshitij Prabhu, when I see every time, then I remember what Tupaka Prabhu had written. Like that, every single Vaishnava plays so many inspirational roles and parts in our life to keep our enthusiasm. Sometimes, you can come here chant at 3 to 4 when no devotees are there, and you can see. Of course, when the fan is switched off, some momentum will be there. We have taken association, so some days you can go on. But after that, when there's no association, you will not be able to chant like that. But where we derive inspiration, when we derive inspiration from so many Vaishnavas, you just see, sit next to one Vaishnava, from him you're deriving inspiration. The Ladini potency of his chanting is affecting your, chanting which is in Mahamaya. Correct, no? So like that, actually, so much inspiration we keep deriving from so many Vaishnavas all around. We should be so grateful, and that's what Krishna is exhibiting. Through etiquette, we express our love, our gratitude, our respect. Of course, we see that in the third canto Bhagavatam, Daksha section, that it is said that Lord Shiva did not pay obeisance to Daksha. And so Prabhupada explained that one pays obeisances not to the Atma but to Paramatma in the heart. So one may, twist the philosophy and say that yes, I don't have to offer to you because you're also Atma, I'm also Atma. Correct? Now, so I don't have to offer. So often this kind of twisted philosophies or the twisting tendency comes in our mind. This is all again Maya's trick. Correct? Because you're in the perfect path, she has to only enter within to delude you away. Correct? So in that way, we can find so many reasons not to follow etiquette, but unless you follow etiquette, you are not going to get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Because Lord Chaitanya said the ornament of a Vaishnava is the Sadachar. Another place, the ornament of a Vaishnava is Tidikshava, Karunika, Suhrida, Sarvadehinam, Ajata, Shatrava, Shantaha, Sadhava, Sadhu Bhushanaha. All these qualities. Right? So, of course, another place ornament of a Vaishnava is another Krishna. So these are various ornaments, and one important is etiquette. So Krishna is personally, displaying that etiquette. When Sudama came, he washed his feet. When the Brahmana carrying the letter of Rukmini, Mother Rukmini, he came. He was, Lord Krishna washed the feet of that Brahmana, just to teach us that we have to become the servant of devotees. Then only we can get Krishna's mercy. Krishna is actually showing what will please him. If we are not ready to do that, then you don't expect Krishna's mercy. Majjanmana palamidam madhukaitavare tvatprataniya madanugrahe shaiva tvadvritya vritya paricharaka vritya vritya vrityasya vritya itimam smaralokanatha. Without Gaurav said, I could not complete the verse. Like this, we keep deriving so much help. So the whole point is here, Kulshekar Alvar is saying, if I have to actually get your Anugraha, I should become servant of your devotees. And even Lord Chaitanya as the Supreme Lord, despite being the Supreme Lord, he's saying that I'm not a Brahmana, I'm not a Vaishnava, Vaishnava. I'm not a Brahmana, I'm not a sannyasi. Correct? I'm not these varnas and ashramas. Sometimes we get too carried away by varnas and ashramas. but rather the heart of a Vaishnava is that I'm simply the servant of devotees of Krishna, and that will avail all the blessings of the acharyas and full mercy of the Supreme Lord. And with that mercy of the Supreme Lord, we can become better servant of Krishna. Okay, so we'll end here. At least one class we should be within time. So Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Śrīla Prabhupāda ki. Samavet Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki. So any question, feedback? Hare Krishna. Hmm. I can tell you the key difference, but with respect to the context, maybe Shiv Kumar Krishna. I was using my pronunciation. So the key difference is when you want something in this world which is not subjected to the material conditions of this world. For example, you want a job which is always there, which will give you full salary, which will give you good vacation, which will give you good perks. Then basically want something like Krishna, like that. So the whole point is we want material only, but it should be as good as Krishna. But the whole point is nothing can compare to Krishna, and that's why Krishna frustrates our attempts through Maya. Yaya sammohita jiva atmanam triguratmakam. So why? Because there's nothing as good as Krishna. So give up your hope that there's anything in this world as good as Krishna. Just turn towards Krishna. That's the whole point. So material means that often we think, I want a son, I want a wife who is this, so many. Correct, now? That means Lakshmi ji only, like that only you want. Then the whole question is, are you like Krishna? Are you like Krishna? So the whole point is that here the desire is considered material to the degree you want something of this world, but as good as God. Understood? No, that this one what? So that is considered material. But when Krishna, Sutapan, or Vasudev, Devaki, though another place purport Prabhupada says that Yashoda Maya's was better. I mean, in the sense that Devaki called that performed austerity. Sorry, they performed austerity to call Krishna to this world. That's not first class devotion in that way. Of course, they're all under the orchestration of Krishna's Leela, etc. But one of the lessons is not that we want Krishna to come here and play as a son. Rather, let us go there and serve him how he wants. That's one of the lessons. But another way is they did not say, I want a son as good as you. Correct. Of course, they did say that, but the whole point is that getting Krishna as one's son is okay, but to think that there's something in this world which can compare to Krishna, that is like lack of knowledge. If wants to add something. You can feel free to. No, that's what I'm saying. The context I don't know full. The only principle I gave maybe Shiv Kumar. You're right. Yeah. Yeah. So the question is, if we avoid greatness and directly jump to sweetness, we may take it cheaply. Yeah. So, for example, if a person has not understood the greatness of Krishna, then all his pastimes with the Vraja gopis, the young gopis, the conjugal pastime, how is he going to see them? He's going to see them as any ordinary mundane pastime because he is still taking shelter of Mahamaya or Yogamaya. Mahamaya. His vision is still imbued with Mahamaya, and in that understanding, he sees, oh, Krishna, he steals butter. So nice. Even my grandchild also does the same thing. So nice. Correct. Now, then they compare Krishna's sweetness to an ordinary thing, event of this world. So that is, you're not at all elevating your consciousness. Another way it can be taken cheaply is they use Krishna's pastimes to just satisfy their own emotions and lust in the philosophy of Sahajaism. So they say that okay, you are Krishna, I am Gopi, and let us enjoy because that's what Krishna taught us. That's what we should do. And in this way, they bring down the sanctity of pure love. Correct, no? So in that way, love can be, or all the pastimes of Krishna can be taken very, very cheaply because they don't understand the greatness of Krishna. If Krishna is so great and he is coming and touching the feet of Yudhishthir Maharaj, hence it is something to discuss for an hour or so. Of course, for eternity, we don't have that. So we don't have that fortune. So the whole point is that if you don't understand Krishna's position and directly jump to sweetness, you compare to the things of this world and use it to satisfy our own lust. I hope it's understood.
One of the reasons that we are going to see that from God is that because when we are appreciated and cooperate with Krishna in the manifestation of the whole creation, therefore, we find very multiple towards them, even if they are not holy. So therefore, it is also written to us that, and this is that we say to them, that even if somebody is not actually at the standard of the Prabhupada wants, but even if they are cooperating, with the full community and whatever capacity they have, then Prabhupada always told us to them and then we love them so much and then gradually we were able to spiritual so for us also it's very easy. But even if the current state of ours in Mahamaya, we are maybe our love our work is not something the perfect. But then even if we sincerely cooperate, it is a mission of the Lord like the Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Then definitely there is our work, even if our the cooperation that we are extending is not perfect. It is a great relief for practicing devotees that even if our affairs are imperfect, that even then we will accept it because of the cooperation.
Thank you, Priji, for adding cherry on top. Yeah, thank you for the clarification, Priji. So, of course, when we say speak of the world religion's greatness, which invokes fear, emotions of fear or desire or duty, that is not to compare with a person who loves Krishna in the mood of dasya bhav. They're two different things. That's not same. We're not condemning dasya bhav at all. Dasya bhav is glorified even by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Prabhupada says that we should start our beginning practice. We should begin our practice by dasya bhav, and worshipping Radha Krishna as Lakshmi Narayan. So that dasya bhav is different. In that dasya bhav, you can still love Krishna, but with awe and reverence. So love is there. So in that dasya bhav, like Hanuman, his love is so great. He's doing so much for Lord Ram. But what we talk of the greatness told by other religion or even just the Vedas is, oh, Krishna is there, he's a person, he provides, it's a very formal relationship which doesn't invoke love. Rather, it only evokes some kind of fear, Chaturvida Bhajante Mam, Jana Sukritono Arjuna. That pious material is how they approach Krishna. So that is the way. So that is not very pleasing to Krishna, but Dasama is very pleasing to Krishna. Hanuman got an embrace from Lord Ram also. Śrīla Prabhupāda ki jai.